Well, g'day and welcome to another episode of Mind Your Business. I'm Andy G, and here we are on what feels like a beautiful summer's day. Now, here in New Zealand, we have had the worst summer. So it's been a couple of weeks since my last visit. So I haven't been here to bother the bees because the last thing they want to have to do is to warm up their hive again once I've opened it in terrible weather. So we just don't do that. So anyway, we're here to check them and just make sure that they're all happy and ready to go for a bit of wintering down. Wintering down really is just a phrase that we use in the beekeeping world that basically means to get them ready to get through winter, because it's a time where they really need to stay warm. It's a time where they really need enough food and not enough. It's hard to explain. If I can simplify it, we don't want them having to keep too much space warm, if that makes sense. With wintering down, some of the things that I would need to do is check the varroa treatment and remove it if necessary to put new stuff in, and also to make sure that it did work. So retreating them around this time is pretty necessary. Is there enough stores of food? No, then I'm probably going to need to feed them. And that's something we can address in another episode. I check the frames and make sure that the queens are doing what they need to do and the nurse bees are doing what they need to do. Checking for American foul brood, which is a disease that no beekeeper wants, because if you get American foul brood, you have to report it. And secondly, you've got to burn the hive if you find some of that. Not a major, but scrape any surplus wax from hive parts, and also checking the bottom boards as well, and potentially fitting entrance reducers too, which I might need to do for the smaller hive especially, is maybe just reduce their entrance that little bit more, because they are susceptible to robbing. They're not a very big hive either, they're not a big colony, so they just need a little bit less space in the entrance so that they don't have to work as hard to guard it, is probably the best way to do it. This time of year the drones will be booted out, the queen will start laying less. I'm going to remove the super from the top of the big hive because they haven't been filling that out. I did start quite late this season, so I'll take that super off and I'll put that away, and that's one less thing they have to try and keep warm, especially as they're not up there. Put it into perspective. If you're trying to heat the lounge at home and that's the only room you want to heat, you're going to shut the doors to all the other rooms so that the heat doesn't escape into those rooms where nobody is. It's the same deal here. I'll take the super off so that they don't have to worry about having to heat up that empty space. And also as well, we may just look at insulating parts of the hives, but you've got to be careful. It's such a balancing act because you don't want lots of moisture getting in there, condensation. So it is a serious balancing act. So look, watch this video anyway. I'll show you some of the things that I've thought of as a beekeeper. There may be one or two things maybe I haven't remembered to do, but every beekeeper does their thing differently. So I'm going to do what I need to do, I believe, to get my bees through winter. Sorry, long-winded intro, but let's crack in anyway. You could sit here and watch these bees for hours, eh? I get a lot of confidence out of seeing the amount of activity that is going on in this hive at the moment, which means I don't have to do too much of a check on this hive, to be honest, because I can see that they're busy, I can see that they're happy and healthy and doing what they need to be doing. And last time I checked, the hive was filling out beautifully, and it came from a 5-frame nucleus. So the queen is definitely laying up a storm. So I'm going to remove the super because they were not filling the super out, and that's still the case now. So the super is gone. I'm going to take the queen excluder out too, because there's no point having it once the super's been taken away. So quite a few bees on the queen excluder, so I'm going to shake them into the hive and pack this away. There's also a yellow jacket wasp there too, so they don't seem to be too worried about that, but I am. Before I disrupt them in the way of shaking them on here, because they're all going to end up flying everywhere, I'm going to just take 2 of these frames here and I'm going to put them at this end. just try and move some of this activity into the centre. Gives me a good chance too just to have a look at the frames as I move them. Nice big food frame. Lots of eggs in there, plus there's the queen with the faded yellow dot on her back. She's still doing great. So what's really interesting is there was a void on here where a strip was for a varroa treatment strip. So they've built up this incredible comb here, which is actually covered in drone brood, or male bee brood. But I'm really happy to say that a quick eyes-on varroa check, there is no varroa in this hive that I can see. And it's just looking fantastic too. All of that white stuff you see in the middle is honey, that's capped honey. So we'll get these 2 empty frames on the outside. I'm only doing it so that it moves all this activity into the centre, which helps keep them warmer. I can't expect they're going to do a hell of a lot more filling out now before winter. Now pizza boxes, they aren't rocket science, but they make good insulation for the top here. So I'm going to put this up on the top. So there's quite a few dead bees out the front of the hive here. It's because a majority of them are actually drones, the males. And it's getting close now to the time of year where the bees boot out the drones, because the drones are only really good for 2 things. 1, mating. 2, eating. So it sort of resonates with human males too, doesn't it? Here's a drone here that's been booted out already, but there's only half of him, so yeah. Right, so this is the baby of the 2 hives. So they're still trying their best to grow at this stage, but they are looking happy, they're looking pretty good. Still got a problem with yellow jackets, and when I came here actually I just saw a yellow jacket fighting with one of the bees, so they're obviously not very welcome in there, as you can well imagine. But it's good to see that they are fighting them off. So quite a few frames that they're yet to do anything with. For me personally, I may just have to move some of these around so we can move the activity into the centre. Just do a quick check and see if Queenie's laying. I'm expecting to find her in one of these frames here in the middle. Yeah, so the queen's looking okay in there. So there's brood and there's eggs. Now another thing I need to do in this hive is that when I got it, it had a ventilated base on it. And I'm now going to cover that up. Be nice. It's a rough job, but that ventilated base is now covered, so that's good. Alright. And our rocket science pizza box, just to give them a little bit of insulation on the top. Now another little something that I'm going to add to this hive now is a smaller entrance reducer. So this reduces their entrance to just that gap there. The one I had on there was that one, but I just think they need a little less entrance space based on their current size. So we can reduce all of this down, and then they just have to look after that little bit. And I think that's the fairest thing I can do for them at this stage. A couple of little thumbtacks just to help keep it on. Pink one as well. Both those hives are going to need feeding as well. And I've realised that when I talk about having to feed the bees, I didn't quite explain what that means. I will give them a mix of 1 sugar to 1 water, right? So whatever quantity that is, it's a 1v1 mix. I'll put a feeder on top of the hives so they can just climb up there and grab it whenever they need it. And then basically through winter, that's my job then to make sure that's topped up so that there's enough for them, because they'll use that to survive. So everything kind of slows down for winter, much like us, right? But I started this video channel solely because I had quite a few friends who were interested in my journey. Personally, I think it's going well. I'm still learning a lot. And while in the eyes of some beekeepers, I might not be doing everything 100% correct, is there really a 100% correct way to do anything? Every beekeeper does things differently. And what I've done in this episode, I'm quite happy with at the moment. And the bees are happy, they're thriving. So whether you're a seasoned beekeeper, or you're someone just watching this channel as a friend, or someone who's not a beekeeper and interested in just seeing how it all works, this is how I do it. And I hope you enjoy it. There's sometimes I wish I had a camera person, because there are times where I just love for you to just get in really close when I'm actually busy doing something. So I know the channel is still very amateur, but I hope it does give you an insight into what I enjoy doing on the side. One of many hobbies. I don't know where I find the time or the money. It's not cheap. Anyway, thanks for watching Mind Your Business. I've been Andy G, and we're going to try and enjoy a little bit more of this day before the weather turns to shit again.